Where's the skateboard at?
I don't even, it's Sean?
Yeah, your friend you came with, the friend you came with, he's a fucking bitch.
Your boy is gonna get fucked up.
He's gonna get his ass kicked.
He's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, did he jet?
I guess, dude, but you tell him he should've never talked shit, because we don't be talking shit about nobody.
Ah, that's cool.
You respect us, we respect you, you know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
Tell your boy, man.
Where's the board at? I'm gonna keep that.
Aaron focused it on it.
Hi, welcome back to Epicly Later'd. This week's episode is about the Menace team. And, you know, it's not about any specific person, it's just sort of about a cultural shift in skateboarding.
Fuck you gotta say, nigga.
You know, LA, New York, all these like city kid skaters that kind of came together as the team Menace. It was kind of thuggy, it was kind of dangerous. When I was a kid and somebody had like the NWA tape and it was like really bad to have, it was like Menace was like skating's version of that. Like skating's like NWA. You know, some of these skaters like Fabian and Stephen Callis, they ended up doing a lot of time in jail. Joey's, you know, he's found religion, he has a family, he's doing really well. We caught up with Eric Pupecki in Rhode Island. Javier Nunez is doing great. He's an actor.
So these aren't perfect. These shows aren't perfect. Maybe 4 or 5 times I made a plan with Cream and then it fell through. I'm not talking shit on the guy. I'm just saying he's hard to get a hold of. Basically, I'm saying we don't have the Cream Campbell interview. That's how it is.
For a long time, I've kind of had this on the back burner as like an episode I wanted to do. Like, I should do a Menace episode. So I'm glad this is finally coming out. I hope you enjoy it.
We had known Kareem for, I don't know, forever. He'll probably deny this, but you know, I claim I taught him 360 flips. You know, this is like when he was on like World SMA, and I was trying to get on Grind King. That's like, you know, like 89 or something, you know.
So tell me about exactly how you got on Menace.
Kareem was a hot boy at the time, you know, winning all these contests, skating for World after the whole basically girl chocolate team now, or then, I guess now it's different too. All quit and started girl skateboards, and Kareem had an opportunity to start his own company. And since we had all been friends for a while, I don't know, I guess he saw something in us. That's corny.
Kareem came back, got on World, we were all psyched, and he was on World for like a couple of years before he came up with the idea for Menace and just put together a team of dudes that hung out in LA. They always hung out at that extra large shop. So he put together that team and said, hey, wouldn't you mind filming these guys? I was like, hell yeah, down to film these dudes. I think this is the first transfer tape for Menace, because that was their first logo right there.
What were the plans with all the footage?
Well, of course, we were going to try to make a video.
What were the challenges of that?
That Kareem needed to approve it. You know, it's his company and his first video, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I feel him on that. He wanted to make sure it was top notch.
He didn't think it was good enough?
I can't put words in his mouth, you know. All I know is that he just kind of put a stop on it. Filming for Menace was one of those deals where it was at the moment. If you were there at a spot and I had the camera and everyone else was kind of along with it, then it would happen. And if it didn't, for whatever reason, like we'd get kicked out of a spot or he'd break his board, then that day was over and that would never happen again.
Were you ever worried about going to some of the sketchy neighborhoods and stuff like that? Because I always heard like Lockwood, people get their cameras stolen.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about all that after I had been filming it for like a year or two. One day we were there filming, it was like a 4th of July, and I just remember hearing the shots, but I was filming lines running around the schoolyard.
Originally, not that many people skated here?
No, there was only a few gang members right here from La Mirada neighborhood. And then when we started skating here, they would kind of give us a little bit of static. I got uncles from that same neighborhood, and turns out that my uncle snatched him up and told him that's my nephew and his friends. Those dudes are cool to skate here whenever they want. And you know, back then I wasn't even trying to look for no beef. We were just trying to skate, trying to get away from the beef, you know?
These kids were like the outcasts of skateboarding, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have like the skateboard image that people wanted. I really like the fact that like when Menace was started, Kareem could have like, he was really good friends with everybody in skateboarding. He could have handpicked like just top skaters, but he came for Billy, Joey, Eric Pepecki, and Fabian. It was the real thing. It was just like, no man, I would like, you know, you guys are a little crew and I want it.
It was like kind of the same thing as the deluxe deal. They don't know what to do with me. That's what Menace is all about. A team of guys that no one knows what the fuck to do with. All right, I'll take you, you, and you. Boom. As in now we got a team of misfits or whatever.
All you motherfucking corns.
Like I said, no contracts. Not even like, hey Eric, would you like to be on Menace skateboards? And I was just like, one day I'm on Menace now. Like, I'm hanging out. We're all, you know, I'm on the team. So it was just kind of nonchalant. So that's why there was like no real money either. So, you know, it's just different times.
And I skated for ATM for about, I guess it was like a year, and then that turned to 60-40 and kind of dissolved. And then when Joey and those guys got with Kareem, I guess Kareem was looking for an AM, and they were like, well, we were already skating with Lee on 60-40 and ATM, so let's bring him over.
So I got out of prison, right? And I'm hanging out with Maurice Key. He was going on tour, a World of Menace tour. So I said, damn, I'm just gonna go see my boys. So I'm on parole and I'm like, damn, I'm not supposed to leave, but I know I could leave. I know I could sneak away for a weekend. I met up with Kareem and all these guys. So we went skating and we did those demos. I skated in the demos and whatever. And I guess I skated good enough and the word went back to, you know, wherever it went to. And I was on. I was on Menace and somebody was like, hey, this little kid's on Menace too from out here. And I was like, oh yeah, who?
What did he look like?
Huh? He was just little with big hands and big arms. He was a little pothead. I was like, damn, this is a badass kid. Like, but it reminded me of me because I was doing that at that age, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm not Little Hive no more. That's everyone knows me for Little Hive. You know, it's been documented. So like I said, from 11 to 13, being in New York, like a lot of things were rolling for me, you know? Me and Maurice were skating that night and Kareem happened to see us do our thing. Got Maurice Key on World Industries and he put me on Menace. Before it actually started, but it was in the process of, you know, becoming a real thing.
You know, we had plans for like Ivan Perez from Brooklyn. I wanted to get Rick Ivaceta on the team.
Socrates was saying that Shiloh was going to get on too. Or there was talk of that or something.
Yeah, that's between Shiloh and Kareem. No, I don't know. I thought at first it was too like, I think that was like original plan. I don't know who changed it. You know, Kareem's the mastermind, you know, like it said, I guess, the bottom. If you look at the bottom, the mastermind, distribution, and he's lurking in the background.
Are they much different from 101, Blind, Plan B, World?
Well, yeah, image-wise, definitely. Because right off the bat, it seemed like their whole thing was a thugged out image, you know? The whole Menace.
In the first one, it was like beating up that kid.
Yeah, that wasn't a skit. You know, we were at Lockwood, and that was a friend of theirs. And for some reason, they always used to get off on hitting him really hard. So yeah, that day, it started off as something simple, and just like one of the dudes might have let a couple of those like kicks or punches go a little too far. He got a little hurt on that deal. I think maybe they thought they had to put a little more effort into it because the cameras were rolling.
Nothing was scripted. Everything was spontaneous. Before, I can only probably count 2 or 3 people that ever used hip hop in a skate video. Now, looking back at those specific times, it was just us really showing the skateboard world skateboarding through our perspective. Like that, yeah, yeah. Make it look like that, bitch ass niggas. And I'll be honest with you, I never thought that we made the impact that obviously I've come to know that we made just from the response that we've been getting from, you know, all these people that we deal with now on a different level and say, wow, I remember, you know, what an impact it had on our lives. And we'd see that video part over and over again every time we'd go out and skate. And I've said this before, I don't think it had anything to do with cutting edge skateboarding, but I think it had more to do with the way we were presenting skateboarding. You know, it wasn't like we were inventing tricks or, you know, but it was like the stuff we put out was It was quality and it was genuine.
I think Vallely thought Joey was skating around with a blunt around on the course. I think he thought a lot of our behavior was inappropriate back in those days. Like skateboarders shouldn't represent themselves that way. Which I think is corny, because I mean, fuck. You look at like fucking old Alva, Dogtown days. We just kind of pulled an Alva move, just, you know, in the 90s, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, you know, got psyched on ourselves.